There's a very interesting piece written in Finnish by Mikko Marttinen, a writer for Ilta Sanomat. I am convinced I'm mangling these Finnish pronunciations, but the article is fascinating, and we're going to link to it. Most browsers will automatically translate it to English for you. And what Mikko says is that there is way too much analysis being devoted to figuring out what's going on with Trump, what's going on with his speeches, and that his dejected, hunched over, impotent presentation at recent speeches, public events, and in media interviews has a really simple explanation. Trump's not smart, and he's getting old, and he's significantly declining. And what Marttinen argues in this piece is that political analysts often look to complex strategic or tactical reasons behind the weird stuff that Trump says, the strange way that he behaves. But what the author believes is that there's a really simple explanation, which is that Trump is the least intelligent president of the modern era. And with his advancing age, he is diminished cognitively with regard to his abilities. It started low and it's getting worse. And what Marttinen adds is that Trump's narcissism, combined with choosing advisors based only on loyalty, results in policies and statements that lack any depth, they lack any informed insight, and it leads to Trump frequently making foolish public statements. It's a worthwhile article to read because of some of the references. Marttinen talks about Linda Gottfredson's definition of intelligence, which means you have the ability to reason, you have the ability to plan, you can solve problems, you can think abstractly and comprehend complex ideas, and also learn from experience so you don't make the same mistakes. Trump doesn't do any of that stuff. And what the author asserts is that the public appearances of Trump and the behavior of Trump demonstrates he can't understand complex issues. He can't think abstractly. And this, Martin has come to conclude, is responsible for Trump's confusion between seeking asylum and a mental asylum. I love this because this is exactly what I've been suspecting for a year. Marttinen believes that Trump's confusion about asylum and that they are emptying out mental institutions into the United States and talking about Hannibal Lecter. Marttinen agrees with me. Trump's confused between I'm here to seek asylum and I'm in a mental asylum. And this is why Trump has been talking about Latin American psychiatric hospitals emptying out into the United States. He just doesn't understand this stuff. And Marttinen argues this goes to Trump's just lack of a basic comprehension with both written and audiovisual content. Now, the article also argues that the notion of Trump's wealth proving his intelligence being completely bogus, and it references the previous analyses that have been done, which suggests that if Trump had taken his inheritance and instead of doing real estate and Trump stakes and casinos that go bankrupt and all of it, if Trump had simply put all of his inheritance in an index fund, he would have done as well or better. And that does not really point to a genius businessman. Trump is likely the only president recently that doesn't regularly read books. Even George W. Bush was a big reader. And if you don't read, I believe it's difficult to understand complex issues. Mikko Marttinen agrees. It's difficult to understand complex issues if you don't read. We know that Trump's advisors have to create very short briefing memos. They have, Trump's name at the top and a couple visuals and charts just to try to keep Trump interested. So bottom line, is it overwrought to look deeply, more deeply than we have to get an answer? Should we favor the simplest answer for Trump's behavior? And what Mikko Marttinen believes in this article, which we will link to, is Trump was never very smart. He's lost cognitive capacity as he has aged. And he's also lost the ability to speak as coherently as he used to. You look at old Letterman appearances, and Trump said some wacky stuff, but he was dramatically more coherent. And so Mikko Marttinen says, the explanation's simple. Let's not keep looking for things we don't need to look for. Trump's not very smart and he's declining, and that's all you need to know. What do you think? Is Mikko Marttinen right? The David Pakman Show's finances have gotten hacked before. I've talked about it on the show. The hacker stole a bunch of money. It was not a good feeling. I worry a lot less now that I use Aura. Our sponsor, Aura, gives me peace of mind by providing some critical layers of security. They continuously monitor the dark web and let me know if information's been exposed, logins, social security numbers, etc. They tell me quickly if anybody tries to use that information to access credit or bank accounts. Andorra also gives me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. Andorra also helps me stay safe from getting hacked in the first place with their award-winning anti-malware software, which I can use on all of my devices. And Aura has parental controls for kids' devices to restrict apps or manage screen time, set focus time. A lot of these things all packaged together in a super easy to use format. Try Aura free for 2 weeks at aura.com/Pakman. It only takes a few seconds using the free trial to see if your usernames and passwords are already on the dark web. The link is in the description.